Back once again, and good to meet everyone. Yes, I do know I haven't shaved for a while, but I'll keep that grudge look over the weekend and probably look to deal with it as we go ahead. But good to see people here, or the lack of it, which is okay. Considering the fact that they're not really celebs, but always good to have, always nice to have a conversation where we speak about motivation maybe, or the always a problem. So the lack of motivation is something which bogs you down. Yes, I wouldn't say it keeps you all up and sprightly, but it definitely bogs you down. And of course, the lack of a support system that keeps motivating you is even a bigger problem. But then you live on hope, and you live on instances where think that hope will help you. Where do you pick up motivation from? And of course, you pick up motivation from so many people around you, so many instances around you, and what you do daily. And but well, maybe not everything that you do daily. Maybe everything is fantastic as it looks, but as you dive deeper into a lot of things, you get to realize that it's not rosy, or maybe you are wearing rose-tinted spectacles. So that's a case to look into, but there are positives to look at. I mean, of course, that's the only way you can push yourself to achieve something that you feel the need to do so. There are also characteristics where you think that motivation begets a lot of other things as you progress ahead. Well, if you were to look at it very linearly and remove the exponential factors, so motivation would rather give you strength. Strength is something which I spoke about in the last video of mine. Uh, it gives you that drive to get up in the morning and possibly do something worthwhile. Number three, it helps you contribute to the larger ecosystem, or rather the people that you meet here. And of course, it helps you meet certain goals which you have professionally, personally, which also includes a lot of familial bonds, etc. And of course, it helps you go through the rigors of life and find the triggers and possibly address them. Because sometimes triggers can give you that necessary fillip, and it can also trigger some very crazy situations. So it's always good to have motivation. But what deflates motivation? A lot of things. Sometimes it's the tone of the people around you. On many occasions, it's because a lot of people don't like to see you progress, and which is a very common factor. Third one, or maybe one of the many, would be that motivation is not something that you find in the supermarket. Absolutely. Not something that gets you to seek a lot of things. And the motivation can sometimes leave you in two minds. So it's like this, it brings out that ambiguity. So you're motivated, of course, you have that motivation within you. But will that help you get your goal? That's one of those big things. So those big questions that need to be answered. Uh, where can you seek motivation? Well, that's a good question. It's something I've been asking myself for good a close decade and a half, or 12 years or something, 12, 15 years, if I were to put a number to that. You find motivation in number one, the people around you. I mean, not really dime a dozen, but 5 out of the 100 people are actually those who believe in themselves, or those who have actually nurtured a small flame within them to ensure that their positivity rubs onto someone else. So that is the sort of people that you need. Then you also need those people who look at you from afar. And I don't know if you've really come across that, but I'm pretty sure a lot of you are within that range of 20s to 30s to 40s, and maybe in your 50s, 60s. So there is that minuscule amount of people who are actually uh, onlookers. They're onlookers, and they have the best intentions of you in their mind, but then they allow you to follow your trajectory. They allow you to edge a path which you feel is right. And just when you think that this path isn't working, they sort of appear out of nowhere. So basically, that divine intervention in the form of a human. So that divine intervention in the form of a human, they probably wrap their arm around you. They sit with you, yes, sit along with you and ask you ask you those 5W and 1H sort of situation questions, and try to drive in some sense into you. I think that's the simple way of looking at it. And then, of course, you have those very seniorly statesmen sort of people stateswomen, who are an essential part of your life, and you always go back to them to seek guidance, because it's like this: they have the answers. You have not really looked at them as your plus ones in situations like this. But then when all hell breaks loose, that's those are the people that you go to. Maybe your go-to people who ideally should be at the top of your list, but then life is as crazy as it can be. So these are those few people or few segments of people who are the others. Well, let's not look at it from a seniority or a senior junior sort of perspective. Sometimes you learn a lot of things from those who are just starting out in their careers, or those who are into a certain trade and have always done it in a certain way, but you pick up the best traits from them, and it just seems all right. Which brings me to a question: is why am I doing this? I have no clue whatsoever, but it's probably a leeway into getting something positive out of the 8 billion. Yes, oh yes, we have touched 8 billion. But not all of the 8 billion are actually on the internet. So that's another thing that we have to look into. Uh, they have some interconnectivity. That's great. That's brilliant. It provides diverse ideas, opinions that we can feed off. And of course, the wisdom part is essential. Let's also remember that it pulls you or puts you within a certain bracket of people who have opinions, and who would ideally want to share them. And I form a very small part of that, but I just hope it brings some sort of value. What are the outcomes of this? I would seriously not have the answers, but I can give you some riders into seeking those answers. But then look at it this way: you will face flag for each and everything that you do, which is parallel from the, or which is basically tangential from the normal one, which is parallel from the normal one. And as I get a call on as I get a call on WhatsApp, I think it's essential that I tell you that I'll pick that up later. I think it's essential that I tell you that just be, let's not be on the defensive. Let's just hold ourselves very close to our hearts. Ourselves, I mean people who are close to each other, and yourself. Let's just be close to each other. Let's seek empathy, or rather, be empathetic to people who are around you, and try to be a motivation factor for them, because you never know, that can really trigger things in the right way. And yes, hashtag stay motivated. Great going. And thank you so much for sitting through. I hope I've made value or provided value to this. And I shall try to ensure some continuity, because continuity is something that we need and forms the basis of things to come ahead. Take care and speak soon. Bye bye.